Right now, the story lands like, this is you, this is me. I want to level the playing field. So right now it lands like this, right? What a great guy. If you recall, when I first met you in it, randomly in an addictions course, I got to know your heart. I saw you as being like a baby in the best way, the innocence of a child. The innocence of a child, the goodness of a child. A person that didn't even have the capacity to lie. Like, that's huge. I saw purity. I saw someone with the highest level of integrity, that was just natural for you, right? It was like, I've never seen that before. And I saw that, if I helped develop, first of all, I felt responsible to see this person who had no idea how great she was. I felt personally responsible because God had somehow accidentally put you in my path to help you, right? In a responsible way financially. I also didn't, let's also remember how our relationship began. I'd never taken courses for years, and this is my first course, and I was scared to death that I was going to fail. I went into overwhelm. I didn't know how to do assignments, and I freaked out. And out of an act of desperation, I sent an email to every single classmate, right, because we all had the list, and there were about 50. And I put out a message saying, hey, just saying that, I'm really scared, I'm really struggling, and I was wondering if anybody might want to, be buddies, and we can once a week, study together and help one another, because I'm just overwhelmed. Nobody got back to me. No one even acknowledged the email. Like, do you understand? I only got one response. I didn't even have someone say, hey, Scott, sorry I can't help you, or whatever. No one even answered my email. But you. I didn't know who you were. This one person answered and said, yeah, I'd be happy to help you. I could use, that'd be good for me too, right? And then I meet you, not knowing who you are, you approach me. And then I find out you're an A student who always gets A's. In other words, you never needed me. I found that out much, much later. And every week we would go to class, 4 hours early or whatever, and we'd quietly study. But I never forgot that. Like, everything that's happening for you that I've done for you, it wouldn't have happened if you not done that first. Your generosity has caused what I'm doing for you. And that's just where it began. This is how I got to see who you were. You stepped up and helped a stranger for no reason when you had no reason to. And I got an A thanks to you. So that's where it all started. And then I asked you if you want to maybe look at being interviewed for one of my not-for-profits and volunteering, and I will help you do tasks that will help develop you and grow you. I don't even know how many volunteers I had, and you were the highest performer in terms of leading groups. Like, I would make different people project managers for a shift. And every time I would tell you what results I wanted accomplished with the team that I gave you, of sometimes 7 people, you were the only person ever in the history of my not-for-profits that delivered on every single intention that I asked of you on every shift when you had a team. If it was just you by yourself, you wouldn't do well. I mean, yeah, you wouldn't do well. And you would produce the results in the team when no one else could. It was like, it was weird, because here you are, this quiet person, right? No, you got no charisma. But so you're quietly this gentle giant that when someone believes in you, you show your appreciation by doing everything you can to produce the result, number one. But more importantly, how is it that 7 people on your team would work with you? Like, they would enjoy working on your team more than anyone else's team. Why? I don't know. Maybe because the same reason myself. We recognize greatness. We recognize a good human being. We recognize an angel. It's like your team produced the results because they wanted to make you look good. Because they knew how beautiful of a human being you are, and they knew how fragile and gentle you were. They just wanted to from the heart because it was you. Like, that's what I mean. There's something extremely unique and special about you as a human being. And I saw the results. I saw incredible results from a person that hated themselves, that had an eating disorder, that had so much low self-esteem, anxiety disorder, that looked like a basket case on the surface, but when it came to producing results or making a difference with people, somehow you were like bipolar, like me in a way. You could just be great every single time. So whilst it's very nice that our story here looks like Scott's the savior, I wonder who saved who. You know that there were 2 times that I had suicidal ideation. I went through some dark times years ago. Who was there for me to listen? Who showed up? Got on a bus 3 hours when my girlfriend called you and told you what I was going through, and you got on a 3-hour bus, showed up, brought a Coke to listen. Who is it that while she was working at a hospice, quietly went to all these different funerals and attended the funerals, even though it wasn't part of your job, but you did it anyway and never told anyone? I knew because I was helping you with your eating disorder. Who is it that also, when it was holidays like Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, statutory holidays, or these holidays where as a grief counselor, you knew these would trigger so much pain, that you quietly went into the office on days like Christmas Day, even at least once, Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, holidays, never told anyone, so that you could go to that office and make a call from the office, so it said private number, and you would be talking to your people and no one would ever know. You never got paid for it. And these, like, who is that? I don't know anyone like you. So I appreciate your generosity in acknowledging me for what I've done for you. And I want to say, you've more than earned it. You've earned it. How could someone do anything other than what I'm doing if they understood what I know about you? And I look at it like, part of the way I recruit great talent for my organizations is by providing value from them for them first, so they get to see who I really am, right? Am I using them? I think we've been working together, and I've been working for you and you for my not-for-profit for 2 years. Although you made me no money, you gave your time so generously and did whatever you could and tried your best. And I don't even know how many hours you worked for me for free. Do you understand? If you think about it, you've worked so many hours for me for free in the past. I don't want to look back at my life and say that I used this woman and you worked 500 or 1,000 hours for my not-for-profit and made nothing. I feel I owe you. I see you as Oprah Winfrey. I don't know the Oprah Winfrey story, but I know enough about it that it goes something like this. She was fat, she was ugly, no way should she be a talk show host, and she was black at a time when they were prejudiced. And it was no, 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 no. And then somebody saw her, met her, and believed in her. Like he had a wisdom. He knew something about business. He knew something about human beings. He knew something about that the world would adore this Oprah Winfrey. Nobody else saw it, but this one guy saw it. How about we look at Celine Dion? Celine Dion's story is a little different because it was a romantic relationship. Do you know the story of Celine Dion? Well, there was this older man, probably as old, like that much older than Celine Dion as I am to you. And he saw her greatness, and he became her manager when she was a nobody. He saw that she was a star. He saw the star in her. He saw, and he had wisdom too. He had business wisdom, and he had wisdom in the music industry to know that this woman was great, going to be great, and the world would love her. And she was a top talent. And nobody else, would take her on. But this guy didn't just do it because, I was trying to say, he didn't just do it because he was, because he's a good guy with a good heart. Because you've postured me as the male version of Mother Teresa, which isn't completely true. For selfish reasons too, I see you as a good business investment. I feel like I've provided so much value to you that I've earned the right to maybe profit one day in some way with you. And I know you without even having to ask, like, if I do this, you give me something. I know you. You're like me. You don't forget who helped you, right? So I look at it like you were the hardest person I've ever had to recruit. I had to recruit you, attract you, and be patient with you, help you develop your greatness, see your greatness, point you in the right track, create a few businesses for you so that I could earn the privilege of being a partner with Oprah Winfrey. So it's not this rescuing guy. She's the Oprah Winfrey. She's the Celine Dion. She's the person that is going to be huge in the world. And I know in business that some of the biggest amounts of money I've ever made, and I've been self-employed for 30 years, they were the ones that took the longest amount of time to develop and grow and nurture. And then boom, all of a sudden here we are closing a $50,000 deal. And it looks like, oh, I just made $50,000. But the rest of the story is, oh, but what you don't know is I helped that kid out 10 years earlier. You understand? Don't say any names. You know what I'm talking about? I helped that kid out and the family saw what I did for him 10 years ago. And then 10 years come by and then boom, it looks like, wow, he just made 50 grand. It wouldn't have been earned if it wasn't for what I'd done 10 years earlier and grow and developing and staying in touch and building that relationship. So I look at it like somehow the world and the universe is going to make me millions and millions of dollars because I did the right thing to stand for your greatness and let you be seen in the world like the world deserves to see you.